Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. Happy Tuesday. Today, I'm so glad that I've been able to do this today. I've managed to give you an update of where I am with the Enterprise refit. I am painting a little bit on the top, got some electrics to do as well. So by the end of it, you're going to see the saucer section lit up with the beacon light flashing, all singing, all dancing, installing an Arduino, also installing a buck converter. So check this out. So this is the VIP lounge, and I've already painted this and put the two decals just at the top there. I've made the carpet green, a little bit of silver on here, a tan for the sofas in there. Coffee tables are kind of like a browny colour, but that is how that's looking. Unfortunately, you're not really going to see much of this when it's actually installed just around about the ABC deck area. But I wanted to show that's done, but I can't actually install this yet because if I was to install this, I've still got to paint around those decks. And if I did that, it's going to go through the window and colour in this lovely VIP lounge, which I've already created. So that's looking like that, and that's ready to be glued in, but I can't do that yet. I'm going to have to start the first painting on the saucer section. And this is the saucer section. Check that out. Now I've actually masked everything off because it's this whole area here that I'm going to be painting, and I've done the masks myself. What I've done is basically used some of this Tamiya yellow vinyl masking tape, and I've done a ring around this side here, a ring around the top. Then I've used my thicker masking tape just to extend that out. And then so I don't hit anything else on the saucer, I put some kitchen towel down as well. So basically the only thing I'm going to be painting is this area here. Now this area just here is going to be a different colour to what we're doing around here. This is going to be grey. And this area here is like a naval blue. It's a slightly darker blue. I will show you the colours that I'm going to use for that. I have ordered the colour for this, but I do have the grey now. So it's the grey that I'm going to put in place. What I am going to do is just put a little bit more masking tape just over that window where I'm not going to be painting. And there we go. So I should get some nice straight lines around this whole area here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be painting this a medium grey. So as you can see, this is all now done, all grey around here. It's like a neutral grey. I'm just going to take off the masking tape that I just put on the end here, because I am going to be painting this back section. Let me just show you that. A slightly different colour. I'll show you that colour in a second. I do want to make sure this is completely masked, so it's just that area that I'm getting. But before we do any of that, I am going to be painting. You can probably see these little bits coming out here, just on that grey section. Now I'm still going to do it a grey, but I'm going to do it a couple of shades lighter by adding some white to it. So I'm going to get that mixed up and paint just these bits to show you the difference of how that looks. So as you can see, that's now how that's looking. So as you can see, I've masked that area up now. Now that's going to be painted in this lacquer colour here, which is LP14. And there you go. When that's done, check out how that looks. I'm so happy with how that's turned out. And then we just have a look at the front section again, where I did that. That looks really good. So, it's the bottom bit done. We've got quite a lot of painting now to do just on this top section. So basically I've masked the top now because I'm going to be putting a kind of duck egg blue along the top of the Enterprise there. The colour I'm using is XF23. This is a Tamiya colour, acrylic colour. I'm actually putting this 1/4 of this to 1 part this to 3 parts white, because I want this a lot brighter than you see there. And you're going to see that as I put this onto the saucer section. So there you go, that's how it looks. As you can see, it's a lot brighter than the grey strip we done there. It's pretty much the colour I wanted to get to. The actual mixture I used for this was pretty much, I'd say, a quarter of the blue, 3/4 white. So however much volume you make of that, that's how I made it to get that nice light colour. So I'm now ready to take all this masking off. So let's do that. Always nervous this bit. You can see now why I go to town by putting loads of kitchen towel on this, because I don't want to get it on this lovely surface that we've already finished here. But let's get this off and see how it looks. I can tell you now, it's looking pretty good. Get it all off, and then all we've got to do is just get off these ones here, and you can see lovely sharp lines with this masking tape. It's very good stuff. This is Tamiya masking, but as you can see there, it's nice sharp lines there. Very good. Keep going round. And then the last one is this big strip that goes all the way around the front. And as you can see, check that out. That's good. I've got a little tiny bit of bleed just probably about there, I reckon, but I can clean that up. No problems at all. But that looks really good. Look. Now, the way this works is that the AB deck will be going on top of this section here, probably around about there, I would have thought. Does sit slightly forward, but that's how that's going to look. Now, this colour that I've got here will be going up onto this section here as well, so I do need to make sure I mix that colour when I actually come to painting this section here. And I will just take this opportunity. I've just sprayed some of this white into a can just to tidy this edge up here. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to be installing the window into this section here before we put the VIP lounge in. So I am just going to take off the masking tape that I've got behind here. And the window is going to be fitting into this area here. Now I need to make a template that I know is going to fit perfectly in there. And what better way to do that than use the negative image that we got from the Paragrafix Photo-Etch part. Now the original part that would go into here was piece, I believe this is 204. It looks like that. Obviously we can't use this because where these grills are at the front, we've now replaced them with Photo-Etch. It's far too thick, which is why we need a flat bit of plastic. And I'm actually going to use this cup. The reason I'm not using a flat bit of acrylic is because this has got a natural curve to it anyway. So I'm not really going to need to melt this down or heat it up or anything. It should fit perfectly. But what I am going to do, take out the Photo-Etch part here. This is the replacement one I had from Paul Ryder. Thank you, Paul, because I'm going to be using those grills later on. But I want basically, where is it? It's this section just here, over the top of that. Make sure I've got it with the bend. And I'm going to trace on the inside of this. Obviously, when I do cut this out, I want it to be slightly smaller, so I can cut on the inside of that line. And there we go. That piece is cut out. Now, if you remember, when we actually put this into, or the actual Photo-Etch part into the saucer, we actually used these sides here and here to glue this Photo-Etch piece onto the outside of the saucer. So this is going to need to be shorter. Got to cut these out just down the side. So let me measure this up with the saucer to see exactly what we need to cut. And again, as you can see there, I've got those lines, so I'm going to cut that. Now, it might take a couple of times to get that in, but as you can see, that's now in. That looks really good. Perfect. Okay, so now I've got that exactly where I want it. To keep it in, I'm going to be putting some canopy glue just on the edge you can't see, on the top and the bottom. And there you go. That's all in there. Any white residue you've got in there is obviously going to dry perfectly clear. So this is the VIP lounge that I created. It's going to be going upside down. It's going to be glued into this section just here. Get it lined up. But before I put that in, I do want to put in a warm white little one of these SMDs. And all I'm going to do is put that on the roof here. Make sure it's going to go around about there. I reckon I'm going to put that in with a bit of resin. So I'll put the resin on first. Just a big blob in the middle there. Should be enough. Get my UV activator light here. Get this on so it's facing the right way. That's perfect, and that's held on. Now you're not really going to see the top of this wire when it's in, but what I am going to do is just pin that down there, because I'm about to seal that LED in, you see. So I put some glue on that, and I'm putting this into place. It's going to hold that down. Now, very much aware that it is going to get the light from the main saucer section in here as well. The warm white is just to actually just tone that down a sec, so it's not so clinical white, if you like. So I am going to show you what this looks like when this is stuck in place. I'm going to leave that to set. Now coming up, we are going to be connecting all of these wires to an Arduino Nano. That will be the final stage of this. There is some wires that I'm not going to be connecting though, and that's these wires here, which are from the thrusters, because the Arduino Nano for that is actually going to be in the next section of the Enterprise, because it is also going to be powering the nacelles and the deflector dish. And there you go. That's how that looks. Now, I can assure you that it's not as yellow as it looks there. For some reason on the iPhone camera I'm filming this on, it makes it look really yellow, but it's not. It's actually just a cool white. And obviously that's going to be toned down with the internal really bright white light that I've got inside the Enterprise there. But I don't know why on camera it's coming up that yellow, because it's not. But anyway, that's all done. Windows are in place, so that is the end of that stage. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to be putting the Arduinos in and connecting all the electrics up. Okay, so in this stage I'm going to take things a little bit more slowly, because I know a lot of people are interested in the electrics, how to put things on an Arduino, what I'm soldering, what I'm using, that sort of thing. Now if you remember, on the saucer section I'm running from 12 volts, and I have got a 12 volt transformer here. It's 12 volts 1 amp, you can get them on Amazon, and I can run pretty much all of those internal lights, which include these strip lights that you see all around here, on those 12 volts. Now it does say that you can run an Arduino Nano on 12 volts as well. Chances are you tried it like I did, and you can't. You definitely cannot put 12 volts in an Arduino Nano. Even though it says you can, you can't. So to get around that problem, I need to turn that 12 volts into 9 volts when it comes into the Nano. And to do that, I'm using something called a buck converter. Now these are in my Amazon store, and they look just like this. Now I got this one because it has a brilliant display on here that will tell me what the voltages are at the time, and I've already put a cable here going into the in. So from this 12 volt supply here, if I just plug this in, you will see, might help to turn this light off. As you can see on the input here, I've got 12.1. If I press this again to find out what the output of this is, I've set it to 9.1. If I needed to change that, that's what a buck converter does. It takes one voltage in this side, and whatever I plug in this side comes out whatever voltage I want. So output 12.1, input 12.1, output 9.1. Now if I wanted to change that to any other thing, all I've got to do is get a flathead screwdriver. Got one here, and there's a screw just at the top here. And I can keep changing this around, and as you can see, it changes the resistance that we've got here to make it what we want. Now I want it at 9.1, I think. There you go. I'm going to keep it at 9.1. That's how you adjust a buck converter, and that is what a buck converter is. So if I turn this light back on, you don't need to see that display now. So before I put this into an Arduino Nano, I'm going to have the 12 volts coming into this side. Then I'm going to have two wires coming out here. They're going to go into the VIN and ground ports onto the Nano. Now these are the bottom two ports here. One says VIN, one says GND. As far as you're concerned, VIN is plus, GND is minus. So VIN's going to be the red, and GND is going to be the black. that's going to be connected to this. So then I know that 9 volts is going into this board. So what I'm going to do, pretty similar, I'm just going to take that off, to what I've got in here. I've got a female JST connector. Again, these are in my Amazon store. I'm going to put a female JST connector into the VIN and ground ports of this Nano. Now, I absolutely love using these because if there is a faulty circuit or something's wrong, I can just unplug these and just take that little bit of the circuit away. If I was just to solder this direct to the things and something goes wrong, it means I've got to break all the solders of just not this connection, but anything that I've connected in between it as well. So that's why I tend to use a lot of these JST connectors. So as you can see, I've put the positive side of this in. Got me solder here. Let's solder this into place. Perfect. It's going to trim off the top of that wire there. So that's a nice solder point. I think you'll agree. I'll take this one out. That's a perfect solder just in there. I'm going to do the ground next to it. Bringing over the buck converter again, I'm going to make sure that I put now a male version of a JST connector into the output side. And it does tell you what side's the negative and what side's the positive on here. And now that's in. So, theoretically, this is the bit that I always hate. I will turn off the light again. And I'll just have a little side light on here. I'm going to plug this board back into the supply. You can see that's going to come on. I just want to double check that 12.2 volts there is coming in. And I've only got 9 volts coming out. That's perfect. Disconnect this again. I'm going to plug this into the Arduino board and hopefully we don't see smoke. Hopefully. We're soon going to see now. When I plug it in, I should get some lights come on the Arduino Nano. Here we go. That's perfect. 2 lights on the Arduino Nano. We're ready to go with this now. So I'm going to solder some more JST plugs onto this for the wires that are going to be coming in from the lights. Now all the lights from the saucer are actually in 3 pins. They're in 11, 12 and 13. So I've soldered the red side of all of these female plugs to pins 11, 12 and 13, which is on the other side here. 11 is going to control the beacon, 12 is the navigation lights and 13 is a constant source for the thrusters. Now all of the grounds for this, I now need to batch them together. So I'm going to strip some of the wire off here on just these 3 ground leads. And I'm going to join them all together. Now I want to make sure that I can poke these through the ground port. There's another ground pin in here. So that they come out the other side, which they do. They're all in there, and I'm going to solder that ground pin in place as well. And now these are wired in, ready for the saucer section. Now I know from wiring before that my blue cable here is the ground lead. So if I was to connect this to the negative side of the battery, and then I'm going to pick a lead here, let's pick the red one, put that on, I'll be able to see what's lighting up at the moment. It might help if I have my microphone on. Twist these together. And then I'm going to do a quick process of what they call tinning. So now they're together, I can just load some solder onto this just to keep these from separating. And that's tinned. What I can do then is either put a bit of heat shrink on there, or what I'm going to do is just flatten that and I'll put a bit of insulating tape around there. I'm going to do the same with the red lead, which we now know are the thrusters. And I'm going to wire the grounds together here. Now I'm not going to tin these yet because I've still got the beacon to put in yet. And I can wrap that around there afterwards. But what I can do is now demonstrate all of this working for you. So I'm going to be plugging 12 and 13. So 12 is the navigation light, so we know that's the yellow one. So I'll take the plug that's coming from the yellow here, plug that into here. And I know that the other one that we've done here is the thrusters, and that's going into pin 13. The only other thing to do is to take the ground wire here. Just gonna strip that one. Now I probably will be adding some stuff to this ground wire, so I'm not gonna tin this one, but I am going to again just add it to what I've just done there. This one's gonna actually go a lot more than what I've put on there at the moment. So I will need to be able to undo this so I can put the beacon light on as well. We'll tidy this up afterwards. Turn the light out, and then hopefully when I connect this up to the power, he says, we should see the thrusters turn on and the navigation lights blinking. Silly me, got that the wrong way round. But you see the thrusters are there and the navigation lights are on. So if I turn this upside down, you can probably see I'm going to turn out all the lights. Thruster lights and navigation lights on. And these are blinking there as well. Don't know if you can see that. I really am hoping you can. Let me just turn one of my monitors off. Hang on, that will help. There you go. I've turned off more lights, but as you can see, that's that lit up. Now, one other thing to show you with this electric now. Okay, now even though this board is getting 9 volts, I do still want 12 volts to be coming into this ring of lights here. So what I've done is I've wired these in, just move this out of the way, directly into the port of the input of this buck connector. So theoretically now, when I plug this in, not only should we have these lights come on, but we should have the main lights in the interior come on as well. And there you go. That's bright. So when it comes to actually mounting these, this is the bigger area of the saucer section. So I'm probably going to mount the buck connector there, and I'll probably mount the Arduino next to it around about there. These wires will then be flattened. There shouldn't be any problem putting that bottom section in. The reason I haven't finalised these bits off here is because I still got a couple of lights to put in, which is the beacon light and then the saucer spotlight, if you like, and I've got a light just going out the back so you can see that from the back of the AB deck. But that's that stage completed. So giving you an example how this looks with a beacon light on, it's giving you an idea as well. But yeah, that's looking really good. I'm happy with that. Obviously this hasn't been stuck down yet or anything, so I need to do that. We've got a bridge to go in there as well, but that's with the rec deck lights on. I'm really happy how that looks. This whole section here isn't being powered in the saucer section. This, as I said, it's going to be powered later on in the next section with another Arduino. But every light working there, as you can see, all the way around here. And then with the thrusters, they come out the sides as well, as you can see there. And the same on this side. Very happy with how that looks. And there you go. Now, there's one other important thing to note that you probably noticed that when I was connecting all the wires up, I only wrapped it in just insulating tape. There is a reason for that, and that's because all the lights on the bottom saucer section have still got to be spliced into the wires that you saw coming out the top. So the thruster lights I've got will connect to the thruster lights at the top. The same with the navigation lights as well. They're all going to be bundled together. So once they're in, I'll make a more permanent connection for them, as in with heat shrink, and then I can piece it together, never have to worry about it again. But I hope that was informative, and I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.